All right guys, today we have another electric unicycle review for you. This is the new KingSong S19. It is a suspension wheel. It is a 500 watt motor, a 1440 watt hour battery. It is a 100 volt wheel. From the factory, it's equipped with an 18 by 3 inch knobby tire. Its top speed is around 37 miles an hour, and its max range is rated for about 60 miles or so, but chances are if you're riding at speed, it'll be significantly less than that. We're out on some of my favorite mountain bike trails today. We're going to test out, see how this wheel does off-road, and then we're going to go out onto some higher speed paved sections and see what this wheel is like on the street. So far, I've gotten some initial riding impressions on this, spent a few days with it, gotten some miles under my belt, and it is a very comfortable wheel to ride. Really nice speaker. We'll test out the sound here in a little bit too with our sound system test track. Suspension is very smooth. I've got this set to about 150 psi positive chamber, 50 psi negative chamber. Some nice features with this wheel. We have a grab handle so we can roll it around. It is really heavy, so you'll need it. If you put your hand underneath here, it'll disconnect and you can rest it on a little stand right there underneath the tire. For some reason, I can't get these lights, these LEDs, to change or turn off. Headlight on this is super bright. 6 lights there, that's nice. It's so bright you can even see it in the daytime. It's pretty impressive. We'll leave it off to for this ride though. One thing that is throwing me off a little bit with this wheel is just the placement of this handle. I want to grab it, but every time I do, it disconnects. You can always change that in the settings. You've got a little screen here that shows you your speed. It's only showing us in kilometers today and how much voltage we have left. Nice big spiky pedals, and I quite like these factory lean pads. At least I assume they're factory. They seem to fit perfectly. All right, let's hop on this wheel. Mosquitoes are getting bad right now in Southeast Michigan, and we'll take this thing for a ride. Very quiet wheel to ride. Lots of torque at lower speeds. We did a torque test with this, and it pulled about 175 pounds until it cut off, and it cut off pretty abruptly. Suspension is really nicely tuned, very soft. My only major complaint while riding this wheel is that it is just really heavy, and you do have a pretty wide pedal stance, so it's not the most agile wheel. Navigating this trail, great acceleration, no complaints there. Decel is pretty good too, if I need to slow down. This rides a little bit more like a higher speed wheel, but again, it doesn't really have the chops to maintain high speeds for a long time just because of the battery capacity. So it's kind of in the middle for me. It's not quite an off-road wheel. It's not quite a long distance on-road wheel. It's a bit more of a comfort wheel for around town. My buddy Jeff spent some time riding this earlier this week, and he got a pretty aggressive tilt back, or actually almost a cutout, at about 35 miles an hour. He was into the power for about 3 seconds or so. He was able to save it, but it doesn't give me the most confidence in this wheel in 2023 at higher speeds. That said though, it performed about average on the torque test. Free spin speeds about 50 miles an hour. I'm wearing shin and knee pads today, and I fit okay with the lean pads. I'm not as stable as I would like, but again, you can kind of adjust and adapt to everything. Tons of traction from this knobby tire. Because of this wheel's weight, I don't quite have the ability to navigate deep sand or mud as well as I would with some lighter wheels. Just making those small micro adjustments can be a little bit challenging. We're getting out today before a lot of the leaves fall out here in Southeast Michigan, so don't have to worry as much about that. This knobby tire does have a lot of traction, but again, because of its weight, I'm not sure I would necessarily call this a big time jumping wheel. It is fun to ride though. I'm a little bit loose with these lean pads, not as locked in as I am on some other wheels. I'm sure the aftermarket you can tweak that and change that according to your riding preference too. It is great though to see manufacturers starting to implement things that riders have been doing in the aftermarket from the factory these days. And I will say these suspension wheels are just awesome to live with. Oh, so nice to ride, especially on the street too. Our mountain bike trails here in Michigan are so smooth. I'm kind of conflicted on whether I prefer a suspension wheel or just a regular rigid wheel out here. I almost prefer the lighter weight packaging of a regular lighter wheel versus having the suppleness of a suspension with the extra weight in the packaging. So honestly, this might be a pretty good choice for street riders. And here in Michigan with all the potholes, you go under a bridge, you see a shadow, you miss one, and riding this wheel, it's a little bit safer because it doesn't necessarily surprise you over those big bumps. And you can just soak everything up from curbs to staircases to bumpy trails with the suspension. Good pedal clearance too. Lots of height when riding this. Haven't had any issues with rubbing pedals. Let's see how it does on an incline here. Yeah, feeling good. When I set this wheel up, it was a little bit colder out, so my shock is slightly stiffer than it used to be. Just barely clipping pedals there. Liking these platform pedals. Good grip. Dirt and mud seems to fall through the cracks pretty easily. Let's see how it feels on some higher speed gravel. We'll watch our corners since we've got some pedestrians out today. Really smooth, really comfy. Let's see how it does here over a rock garden. Easy, just easy, nice. You definitely adjust to the wheel's weight. I am used to riding lighter weight wheels, around 50 pounds or so, and the extra mass on this took me a little bit of getting used to. But that's just kind of the way it is right now. Everything's heavy. Little jump there. Tire pressure is about 25 psi today. I'm about 160 pounds with all my gear on. It is fun. Yeah. There we go. And that's why you have gear. looks good. All right, I think it's been a pretty good trail ride. Maybe we'll go back a little bit and then we'll hit some higher speed paved sections. And that'll be a review on the KingSong S19. I've got to say, for 2023, I was hoping for a little bit better high speed and range performance from a full suspension wheel. This has good torque figures, but it seems like it can't maintain it for very long. For short bursts, it's okay, but extended high speed sections or really steep hills with lots of lean, if you're a heavier rider and you can really lean into this thing, you might run into a dip here or there. All right, here's a bit of a hill. Let's come to a slow and lean our way up it. There we go. Take it easier near the cliff. I haven't been riding as much lately with all the videos we've been filming, having a kid, a family, traveling, so I'm a little bit rusty still. But I forgot how much fun this is. I do a lot of mountain biking, but also been having some back issues with that, the riding, so this might be a fun little alternative for a bit too. It's still kind of a workout. Gotta get out the Gotway MSX again. Though I have been spoiled with all these suspension wheels that we've been testing lately. Wheels have gotten really good. They've come a long way. I think we still have a bit to go in terms of software and reliability, and I would like manufacturers to put a little bit more quality control into their wheels instead of just coming out with new stuff all the time. But the app integration is pretty poor on this KingSong S19. All right, cool. Let's go hit the pavement. Let's see what this is like at slightly higher speed. We're gonna keep our speeds down somewhat just to avoid any high-speed dips. We'll open up darkness spot here. We track our speed. Got our first alarm here set to 32 miles an hour. We'll keep it slow through these trail crossings. Yeah, you just float over every bump in this S19. Suspension geometry, suspension tuning, the shock, it's so easy to set up. It just rides beautifully. That's awesome. All right, so we've got some bumpy sections through here, but overall not too bad. We're gonna keep it at around 30 miles an hour. Really good stability at high speeds. Feels awesome at speed. It's just, I just don't know how much more confidence I have in it to push it harder, faster. Above 30, 32, 33. There's the Type R. Is it easy to jump? kind of. It's just really heavy. Low speed maneuverability, it's okay. It gets the job done. Definitely some limitations just with its packaging and size, but that's to be expected. Braking performance is pretty good. Regen, decel. I like that. I can really lean back on these pads. Acceleration, pretty much up to bravery. If high-speed riding isn't your thing and you just want a comfortable wheel to ride around that looks cool, that just has some of the best tuned suspension on the market, I think this KingSong S19 is a pretty good deal. Tiptoe through some mud here. Should have plenty of traction with this knobby tire. Got some good bumps on this road as well. Yep. On a rigid wheel, some of those would just be brutal. There's a few big ones up here. Awesome. Good traction in the mud too. Let's stay out of the water. Alright guys, so overall, a pretty well-rounded wheel. I do like the way this rides a lot. It looks great. The form factor is really pretty cool. I would change a few things about it. I'm not sure the suspension system is going to be super reliable long-term if you're going to be doing a lot of dirt and mud riding, just because there's these inboard wheels here that kind of facilitate the movement of everything, and those could get gummed up. You might have to pull everything off, all the panels off, and kind of clean everything periodically. So a little bit of maintenance will be involved. I wouldn't mind the option for a coil spring with the suspension here, though you can always do that yourself in the aftermarket. Having an air shock, of course, you're going to be needing to fill it up every couple weeks or with any temperature changes. Battery capacity seems pretty good. Put a lot of miles on this and it doesn't seem to deplete as fast as I would have expected. I think high speed performance is probably the biggest disappointment here, but the suspension is really a highlight. This tire is awesome. This 18 by 3 inch knobby is just a beast. Pretty much the gold standard for what they're putting on everything these days. Headlight performance is fantastic. I think before we wrap everything up, let's go in and do a quick speaker test. Supposedly, this wheel has the best electric unicycle speaker a lot of people have heard. So we'll go into Bluetooth. KingSong music is already connected. And we'll go into our sound test track here. You can see even some audio waveforms there. Oh, that is pretty nice. That sounds good. Whole wheel's vibrating. Nice. That's max volume right there. Yeah, that's awesome. I can feel them vibrating underneath me. A little bit muddy at the higher end, but that's okay. Cool. All right, guys. Well, there is a review on the new KingSong S19. Huge shout out to uco.us for supplying this wheel for a couple weeks. And big thanks to Jeff for doing some of the testing on this. We'll include some data in the description and some more information on this wheel. You can also go purchase it at uco.us when it's available in their store. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Nice Mach 1, nice 911. Nice Civic Type R. All right, guys, that's a wrap for this one. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you later. There's your dual charge ports too, right there. You can see underneath in some of the bits, you've got this protected cable. Everything looks pretty well sealed up. There's a good amount of armor over batteries and bits. These pads are just kind of stuck on. You could always add more armor for any spills, scrapes, or bumps, but seems to have held up pretty well already in its first 100 miles. No major crashes. This kickstand is really nice too. I like that. Just getting it up into the car. Whew, a little bit heavier than I'm able to lift comfortably. There we go. That's why we have rubber liners in the trunk of the Civic Type R. Don't forget all your gear. Wrist guards, knee and shin guards, full face helmet, motorcycle pads. Got thicker riding jeans on as well. A little bit hot and sweaty out here, but safety is super important on these wheels. I always swore I'd never ride motorcycles because they're too dangerous, but here we are. Riding something arguably more dangerous. I love it though, it's so much fun. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later. That's actually the end of the video. Take care.